Hello and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we are going to talk about lambda functions. Lambda functions are sometimes called as anonymous function. In Python, anonymous function is a function that is defined without a name. So lambda function doesn't have any name, but it is same like a normal function. While normal function is normally defined using this def keyword, as you know, we have already learned about this normal function in the previous lectures, but in Python, anonymous functions are defined using this lambda keyword. So let me just spell it right, which is lambda over here, and this is the keyword in order to define your anonymous function. So this anonymous function is also called as our lambda function, as I have already stated before. So let's see how this lambda function can be used in the Python. So lambda function in a Python has a following syntax. So let me just write over here, which is your lambda keyword first, and you should pass argument, which is normally passed in the case of your normal function, and you just pass expression after you pass this argument. So lambda function can have any number of argument but only one expression. Just remember that you have any number of arguments like you have in the functions, and you have only one expression in the lambda function. The expression is evaluated and returned, and the lambda function can be used whenever function objects are required. Let me take a quick example in order to make you understand about this lambda function. First of all, let me clear this file, and first of all, we want to write a program to show the use of the lambda function over here. So in this program, we are going to show the use of a lambda function, which simply returns us a multiplication of a 2 when you just pass any number to that method. So first of all, you just give the return of your lambda method, which is in this case double. So let me say double, and you make use of this lambda, which is our keyword, in order to make use of this anonymous function and the argument. So you have to make use of the argument after you just pass that lambda keyword, and just provide the colon over here. So after the colon, you have to provide the expression to be performed inside this function. So it should be x multiplied by 2. So let me just print now, that is this double. So let me say double over here, and let me just pass 5. So what we have done here is we have made this anonymous function. It is same as saying something like define me any name. So instead of name, we don't have name usually in the case of lambda, but in the normal function we have a name. So let me say mul is our function, and let me just pass here x, and we'll just say x multiplied by 2 is our expression inside this mul. So it is same as saying here, that is we have in this case a lambda, which normally doesn't contain any name of your function like we have over here, which is mul. Lambda function doesn't contain any name. That means it is an anonymous function. So let me save this one, that is this code, and run it and show you the example, which should be 10 over here. The output is 10. That means we made use of this lambda method in order to calculate the value of 5 multiplied by 2, and that is returned in this double, and we just printed that double over here. So this is the use of a lambda function. So let me just quickly remind you of the expression that is we have done here. So first of all, you make use of this lambda keyword, and the argument, this argument can be any number of argument, and you give this colon, and you give this expression. So expression should be only one. You shouldn't provide something like expression here. Let me say x multiplied by 3. If I just save this down and run it here, then you could quickly see error, that is name x is not defined over here, and it is because you have to only have a single expression. So you can have a single expression. So if you just do something like over here, let me say x y, and let me just perform another expression over here, y multiplied by 2, and if you just go over here, that is 5, and let me say 4. If I save this one and run it, then you could see the error, that is y is not defined again. So it is because we can only use the single expression in the lambda function. Just remember that. So in this program, this function is basically the lambda function, what we did here, and x is an argument, and x multiplied by 2 is an expression that gets evaluated and returned in this double. And this function has no name. It returns a function object which is assigned to the identifier which is double over here. We can now call it as a normal function, like we have statement over here that is double of 5, is this is identifier of our lambda function. Furthermore, we use lambda function when we require a nameless function for a short period of time. In Python, we generally use it as an argument to a higher order function. Higher order function is those type of function that takes in other function as an argument, and the lambda functions are used along with the built-in function, like we have filter function that is built-in function of Python. We have map function which is built-in function of Python. So what this map and filter does with this lambda function, let's take a quick example to show you how this work with the filter and with the map. So let me just go with the filter function first. So filter function in a Python takes in a function and a list as an argument. So let me just make a program to filter out only the even item from a list. So we need a list first, which would be our original list, and let me just make some of the element over here. Let me say 1, 5, 4, 6 and 8. Let me just quickly give any number over here which would be our list element. Let me say 3. Let me say 12 is our list, original list. So let me make the new list. So new list can be created like here, that is, let me typecast it to the list first. And first of all, we want to make use of this filter. So this filter basically takes a function and it also takes the list. So first of all, let me give a function. So filter has the function in terms of lambda. So we can make use of this lambda, which is an anonymous function that can be passed to this filter. So basically this lambda function takes an argument and we make use of the conditions or expression over here. So let me just say I want to filter out the even item from the list. That means you just give a modulo operation over here. So if it is equal to 0, that means it is even item, and you just return that even item to this filter method. So now next argument to this filter method is our list, which in this case is our my list. So let me just pass this one over here and let me just close this list typecasting. So now we have a new list. So let me just print down this new list. Then you could see we have filtered out only the even item from this list. So let me save this down and run it here. Then you could see we have now 4, 6, 8 and 12, which is only the even item which is from this list. So if I just say another element, let me say 6790, then if I just save this down and let me say 6790 again, and let me save this down and run the code again, then you could see 6790 is also an even number that is using this filter method. So filter method is to break down your list. So in order to perform some operation, you make use of this filter in order to filter the element based on your expression, that is using this lambda function, and the next argument to your filter should be your original list where this filter should be performed. So we have a application of this lambda function, which is our anonymous function in the case of filter, where you want to filter down the element based on your condition, which in this case is to filter out the even number. You can also give something like, let me just filter with this expression like x is not equal 0. So if it is not equal 0, that means you are getting everything from the list. Instead you have this condition. So now we have 1 and 2 because our condition is to just not returning this value 0 from the list. Instead it will return all the element except the 0 from the list using this lambda method over here. So you can make use of multiple condition in order to filter out the element from your list or any data structure. So let me select all of this code and remove this. So now it's time to take an example of this map function. So map function is really important function, and this map function in a Python takes a function and a list like we have in the case of this filter. So we'll just say function is the first argument and the list is the second argument to this map function. So let's take the example of this map function. So in this program we'll just double each item in the list using the map. So first of all, I'll just make the my list, which is our my list, which is the list, which is original list. So let me say the element to the list would be, now let me just put some of these element to this list. Let me just put some random element over here and it should be 12. So last is our 12, and that means this is our original list. Now we have to make use of the lambda method and the map method in order to just create this new list. So new list would be the list which has the double of each item in this list. That means if you have 1, it will be converted to 2. If you have 5, it will be double, that means it will be 10. If you have 4 over here, that means it will be something like 8, and 6 will be 12, so on. So in order to perform that, we have to make use of this map, and map basically takes a function and iterables. So iterables here is our list. So we have to make use of this lambda method in order to just specify the function, which is anonymous function. And let me just put a argument which should be arguments, and basically it should be x, which is basically every element of this list. And let me specify the expression over here, that is x multiplied by 2, because we want to double each of these items. So that means you have to just specify here expression as x multiplied by 2. And the next argument here will be my list, which is iterable over here. And let me just close this down, and let me just print now this is new list. So I'll just say new list, and let me save this down, and let me just press F5. Then you could see we have now doubled every item of this list using this map function. So map function basically takes same parameter as we have in the case of the filter, and it will just convert something like expression, which will basically convert our list to the another form. So you can just say that is multiply with 3. That means you can just convert to another form, that is now multiplied by 3, or the 3 times of the every element of this list. So basically what map and filter does is, map will basically convert your list or iterable into another form of iterable, which we have here. X multiplied by 2 is something like you are converting your list to the another form. So in the case of reduce, you are just reducing or filtering out the elements. That means you are just taking each of this part, and based on the condition that is provided with the lambda method, you are just filtering out the element of your original list. So that is the difference of the map and reduce. In the map, you just normally convert into the another form. In the reduce, you just filter out the element of your iterables like we did in the before. So that is the difference of this map and reduce, where you just convert to another form in the case of the map, but in the case of reduce, you normally reduce or basically filter out the elements from your iterable like we did before, in the case where we just write the program to filter out only the even item from the list, which was basically the filtering using the filter method or using the reduce. But in the case of map, we make use of this expression in order to convert your iterables into another form using this lambda method. So lambda method has an application while using this map and a filter in the Python. So just remember that, and just remember one thing, that is a lambda function is created by using this lambda keyword, and it is the anonymous function because it doesn't contain any name or a signature like we normally have in the case of a normal function. So this will be the wrap for this lecture. See you in the next one.